Hello students, today we are moving to the next part of the microbe in human welfare, that is sewage treatment. Simply, this sewage treatment is a solution to the water pollution. In the water bodies, in the large water bodies like rivers, seas and oceans, our used water that goes directly, that pollute the water, not only it affects the environment, it is also killing, destroying lots of aquatic organisms. So this is very much important to us to take care of the water bodies, so that to the water bodies directly the used water from the household or from the industry, the water cannot go. So for that we have a treatment that is known as sewage treatment plant, that is simply called as STP. So what is STP? So this STP sewage treatment plant is actually one plant by which we can use the polluted water, and it is with the help of some microorganisms and by various other processes the water is purified. After the STP, when water is processed, it is allowed to undergo microbial action in the STP. Then after that, that water is allowed to go to the water bodies, or that water is so pure that once again we can use it in our household or maybe in the industries. It solves a lot of problem. It is also it helps in sustainable development. It is helping the environment and the ecosystem. It helps the other living organisms to survive. So let us start with the sewage treatment. So first of all, what is sewage? Sewage means it is nothing but the water. That water is already with lots of pollutants produced by the cities, industries, all those industries and the household. You can imagine that every day how much water we use, isn't? So that water will come from the kitchen, can come from the bathroom, from the washing. Okay, so from all these processes, whenever this water is coming outside from our drains, then is it directly thrown to the water bodies? So that thing we have to see. Okay, so first of all, what is sewage? We have to remember what is the definition of sewage. Sewage means the wastewater produced by the cities and the towns is called as sewage. So before disposal into the water bodies, it has to be treated with the sewage treatment plants. So first of all, we will see how this wastewater, the water which is polluted, which is having lots of chemicals, lots of organic matter, plastic, non-soluble, insoluble, soluble, all those things are present. So how can we purify it? It is with the help of sewage treatment plant. So this sewage treatment plant is divided into two parts. One is known as the primary treatment and second one is known as the secondary treatment. And after that we can go for the tertiary treatment also. But this tertiary treatment is not there in your books, NCERT, so that's why it's not that important. First of all, we will see primary, secondary, and after that I will tell you the tertiary treatment too. So first of all, what is the primary treatment? This primary treatment is nothing but a physical process. That means here this process will help in removing only the soil, pebble or plastics which is floating or gets settled down. Everything we will remove, and very small organic compounds, soluble things, if it is there, then it will be treated by the secondary treatment, where the secondary treatment is also known as the biological treatment. So in this biological treatment, lots of organic or microbes, they work on that water. They to a certain extent, or to very much actually large extent, it purify the water. So first of all, we'll see what is the primary treatment. So in the primary treatment, microbes are not used. It's not a biological treatment. It is just a physical process. So first of all, just see, this is one tank. Okay, so first of all, this tank This tank will be known as the settling tank. So in this settling tank, what we have the water. Okay, so this water is used by the industries, in the house, okay, for different other purposes. So this water is first of all taken into the primary settling tank. So in that, whenever first of all that water is present in a large tanks, so this will be known as a settling tank. So in the settling tank, whenever we have the water, they can have lots of floating components, lots of things like plastic bags, some electronic waste that can be present, so which is floating. Okay, so this floating waste will be also present in the water, and towards the bottom, if we allow to settle for some period of time, that water will have some type of products that can be also present towards the bottom. It can be soil, it can be pebbles, small stones, large stones, then soil, everything that can be settled down. Okay, so these are the soil and pebbles. Okay, so first of all, just see in that water, by physical process, will just remove the floating substances from the surface and remove the soil and the pebbles from the bottom. So in this primary treatment, what we are going to do, first of all, this primary treatment is divided into two parts. One is the sequential filtration and second one is sedimentation. So first of all, see what is sequential filtration. In sequential filtration, we will remove the floating debris. Okay, so whatever the debris present on the surface which do not get settled down, we'll just remove it by sequential filtration. Okay, so in the sequential filtration, we will remove the plastics, okay, then some bags, then after that some electronic waste. Okay, so this type of things that can be removed by the sequential filtration. Okay, so just by filtration process we will just remove it, right? Then after that, this settling tank, towards the bottom we will have some type of compound which is heavier, like the soil and pebbles that can be also present. How we can remove it? By the next process, that is sedimentation. Okay, so the soil and pebbles, they will be removed by sedimentation, right? So in this sedimentation, we'll remove the grit. That grits will be nothing but the soil and the pebbles. So whenever we allow to settle for a time period in the settling tank, then the soil and pebbles, they will get settled down. Then after that, by just removing the water into the next tank, then we will able to completely separate the soil and the pebbles. So after that, this water, okay, so this water which will have this much of water which is now not having the floating debris or the soil and the pebbles. So this will be known as the primary effluent. Okay, so this will be known as the primary effluent. So this primary effluent is now will go for the next step, that is the secondary treatment, right? Now after that, this water, after removing the floating substances and the sedimented things like soil and pebbles, they will be removed by this primary treatment, and after that this primary effluent or the primary effluent is allowed to go for the second stage. Second stage is the secondary treatment, which is also known as the biological treatment. So let's just move to the secondary treatment. After that, let us see that the water which is now passed from the primary treatment now is coming to the secondary treatment. So in this secondary treatment, what happened? First of all, we need to know this secondary treatment is also known as biological treatment. So first of all, forget about this tank. We will see this is the tank. Okay. So first of all, in the secondary treatment, we are going to have two tanks. One is the aerobic tank and another is the anaerobic tank. Okay. So this sludge, okay, that sludge will be in this digester. This is the aeration tank, right? So what happens? See, first of all, this primary effluent that will be sent to the secondary treatment, right? So this primary effluent, whenever will be passed to the next tank, to that tank will be known as the aeration tank. Why this aeration tank? Why? Because in this we will constantly allow the water bubbles to enter into it. Okay, so it will have water. It will have the air constantly. It will enter into that aeration tank. Okay, so that's why it is known as the aeration tank. So in that actually primary effluent, what is present? It is the soluble organic matter. So soluble, lots of organic matter, animal, plant originated, like you can have vegetable peel, then after that meat, rotten things, everything that can be present. Okay, so these are what? These are the organic matter. Okay, so organic matter will be there. Either it can be plant originated or animal originated. So these are the plant originated and these are the animal originated organic matter. So it is present, it is in the soluble form. Now what happened that in that aeration tank, whenever constantly air will allow to enter into that aeration tank and constantly it will be agitated, then what happens? Some type of aerobic heterotrophic bacteria along with fungi will grow. Okay, so in this aeration tank, what will happen? Some bacteria and fungi will grow, right? So this bacteria and the fungi, okay, so fungi that will be filamentous. So this bacteria and the fungi will form some mesh-like structure. So what is that mesh? That mesh will be known as the flocks, right? So these are the flocks. Okay, remember, these are the flock. What is flock? It will also come in your exam. What is flock? Actually, it is nothing but the mesh-like filamentous structure formed by heterotrophic aerobic bacteria and the fungi. So this heterotrophic aerobic bacteria and the fungi, which is forming some mesh-like structure, that will be known as the flock. So this flock will start to take the organic matter, because bacteria and the fungi will take the organic matter, the glucose, cellulose, starch present in this tank, it will start to take. So gradually what will happen, this organic matter will start to decrease. Okay, now one thing you need to know, one term we have to see, that is known as BOD. What is BOD? BOD stands for biochemical oxygen demand. Okay, now let me tell you one very easy example so that you can understand. Okay, so first of all, this is one water body. Okay, and this is the another water body. Okay, so in this first water body, we have very less living organism. Okay, living organism, organic matter is very less. And in this water body, it is full of organisms. The animals also are here, plants are here, microorganisms, everything are present. So in this previous tank, we have very less organic matter. Okay, so here it is going to have very less organic matter, right? And in the second tank, this is the first tank, right? And this is going to be the second tank, right? So in the second tank, what we have, very large amount of organic matter. So very huge amount of organic matter is present. Now just see, you know that the fishes, how they take the gases? They take the gases which is dissolved in the water, isn't it? So that is known as the dissolved oxygen. Now, so that water will contain certain amount of dissolved oxygen in it. Now, if you see that first tank, suppose in the first tank also what we are going to have oxygen, dissolved oxygen, and here in this second tank also we have the dissolved oxygen. Okay, but in the first tank, due to the absence of the organic matter, okay, or organic matter means living things, okay, living organisms also, you can say the plants, animals, microorganisms, everything. So as organic or living organisms, okay, we can say living organisms too. Okay, so in the first tank what we have dissolved oxygen, that will be very high because that oxygen that is dissolved in the water, it is not taken by any living organism. Okay, so that's why in the first tank what happened, we have very high level of oxygen, okay, that is already dissolved in this dissolved state in the water. But in the second tank what happened, as the living organisms or the organic matter is very high, it will consume that dissolved oxygen. So whenever it consumes the dissolved oxygen in the second tank, that's why the oxygen tank, that oxygen will start to decrease. Okay, so here the dissolved oxygen level will be less due to the presence of high organic matter. And in the first tank, due to the less organic or living organisms, the dissolved oxygen is very high because there is no one to take the dissolved oxygen. Now come to the another point. What is that point? That is demand. Okay, so when we can have demand will be then only when there is scarcity, right? So what happened here in the first tank, there is high dissolved oxygen, right? So that's why what will happen, biochemical oxygen demand, okay, it is going to be very less because there is free oxygen is there, so demand is less because it is present freely, right? In the second tank, what happened, due to the presence of these living organisms, high organic matter, living organisms are there, then microbes are present, they will take the oxygen, so dissolved oxygen level will start to decline. And after that, obviously what will happen here, due to the less organic dissolved oxygen, what will happen? Biochemical oxygen demand will be very high, isn't that? Understand these 2 points. So what happened in the first tank, due to the presence of less organic matter and living organism, dissolved oxygen is very high. So that's why BOD level is very less. In the second tank, due to the presence of high living organisms and organic matter, it takes most of the dissolved oxygen. So that's why BOD level is very high. Got it? This 2 point you have to remember. This is very much important. It's confusing also sometimes. So in this tank, in this aeration tank, what we have seen that here in this tank, first of all, the organic matter is present. Very high organic matter is there. Living organisms are there. That is frog. The frog will starts taking the organic matter. So that's why what will happen, the more organic matter in this aeration tank, more frogs will be there. More frog will take more and more oxygen from this tank, aeration tank. So that's why what will happen, it will increase BOD or not. It is increasing BOD, isn't that? Because these frogs are taking this oxygen, isn't that? So as this frog is taking oxygen, so that's why there is a demand of oxygen because there is a scarcity of oxygen because more and more frogs are growing there. So after some time, what will happen? The biochemical oxygen demand will be very high. This way, what happened? This BOD is just an indicator to show how much polluted that water is. If BOD is very high, that means the water is highly polluted because more organic matter is there, more flocs are growing there. If in the aeration tank we just check the BOD, then we will able to understand how much polluted that water is. And we will go on having this aeration process. We will constantly agitate for long period of time until and unless BOD level decrease. When BOD will decrease? BOD will decrease only when the organic matter starts to decline. So if we have less and less organic matter, the floc will start to grow less. That's why oxygen will present in the water, that will start to increase. So that's why biochemical oxygen demand will reduce. Okay. So in the secondary treatment, in the aeration tank, we will continue the process of aeration and we will keep that effluent inside the aeration tank for that time period until and unless BOD reduces. Got it? Once this BOD reduces, then we will allow this water, this effluent to move to the next tank, that is known as the anaerobic tank. Now in this anaerobic tank, what will happen? This water, which is now going to have very less organic matter because most of the organic matter is taken by this flocs, isn't? Very less thing will be present. Now we will allow this water, this effluent to be undergone another microbial action, and that will be anaerobic microbes. Okay, so anaerobic microbes will grow, and a very famous microorganism is here, that is methanogenic bacteria, or we can say is Methanococcus. Okay, so Methanococcus will grow. Okay, so it is the anaerobic bacteria. It is growing in the next anaerobic sludge disaster. So this methanogenic bacteria will work, whatever the leftover part is present in the water, it will work on that. It will start to digest if something is left. It will undergo anaerobic respiration. It will produce some of the gases. What are the gases now? These gases will be chiefly ammonia, okay, then hydrogen sulfide, then carbon dioxide, some amount of hydrogen also. Okay, so these gases will be removed. Some fishes, rotten egg type of smell that is coming, it's actually the smell of hydrogen sulfide. So ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, water, hydrogen, that will be removed, and that gases, that is nothing but biogas. Okay, remember this methane, this is actually what? Methane is nothing but highly inflammable, right? That can be used as an alternate source of energy also, and yes, this is used. Okay, the cow dung which have this Methanococcus, okay, that is inflammable. If you suppose fire it, it will burn for a long period of time because of the presence of ammonia there in the cow dung. Okay, so come to this. In this anaerobic tank, what happened? This anaerobic microbes like Methanococcus is working on that leftover water. It was producing some gases like methane, ammonia, then hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, etc. So these gases will remove, and this is nothing but known as the biogas. And after this, the secondary treatment is over. After completing the aeration process and then anaeration process, first of all aerobic bacteria, heterotrophic bacteria and fungi will work. Then after that Methanococcus, anaerobic bacteria will work. After that, whatever the water is there, that water is pretty much good, it's less polluted. Okay, it can be sent to now water bodies. Water bodies now can take and to pure, and it's already pure, so it can be thrown to the water bodies, right? And this water will not harm, okay, the other microorganisms. They will it can take the pure water. So this is the secondary treatment. Okay, hope you have understood the secondary treatment. It's very easy. You just read once these things. First of all, see, this primary effluent is passed into the aeration tank to allow the vigorous growth of the aerobic heterotrophic microbes. Remember that this aerobic heterotrophic microbes, what are they? The bacteria and fungi. They are known together as floc. Okay, so this bacteria and fungi form the flocs. So what is the flocs? This is nothing but the filamentous mesh-like structure. Okay, then this after that it will go on working on it. It takes the it will actually undergo aerobic respiration due to the presence of oxygen. BOD level at first was very high. Then after that, this aerobic process, this will continue agitating in this aeration tank until and unless BOD decreases. Once it is decreased, what will happen? We will send it to the next tank. What is that? Anaerobic floc digester or anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, so see, it takes the organic matter and reduce BOD. Understand? After that, this effluent is passed into the anaerobic sludge digester. The methanogenic bacteria, remember that this methanogenic bacteria digest the flocs. It will take the flocs also. So this flocs will be taken by this methanogenic bacteria, and in return it will release biogas. Okay, flocs to reduce this gases, and after this the water can be sent to the water bodies directly. It can be sent to the water bodies directly. Okay, either it can be sent to the water bodies, or if we want to reuse this water once again in our house or in the industries, then we can treat it the next process, that is the tertiary treatment. So in the tertiary treatment, nothing but what will happen, this water, suppose here I will tell you what is the tertiary treatment. In the tertiary treatment, this water is treated with some gases like you can have ozone, chlorine. Okay, so these gases, ozone, then chlorine, these gases will allow to treat that water. After the secondary treatment, that effluent is passed to the next treatment, that is tertiary treatment. Here actually some pesticides, fertilizers, some chemical are there. Those will be just destroyed by the gases like ozone, chlorine, etc. A lot of other gases are also here. So these gases will destroy if some chemicals, some pesticides, fertilizers, chemical fertilizers are present. Then those harmful chemicals will be killed, destroyed by these gases. That will be known as the tertiary treatment. Okay, then after that, that water will be pure, completely pure, and we can take it as a drinking water also. Of course, it will be used in the filter in our house. So that's all about the tertiary treatment. It's the whole sewage treatment. Primary treatment, secondary treatment is there in your book. So you have to remember that. Tertiary treatment is also there, and you don't have to remember that also, because it is just helping in the clearing of chemicals from it just by adding ozone, chlorine, etc. So that's all about the sewage treatment. Hope you have understood. This is one 5-mark question. It will come in many ways. The objective exams also, they will ask a lot of questions. Basically from sewage treatment, the whole the whole topic is going to come 5-mark question, or if it is not, this one related to BOD, they will ask for sure. 100% question will be come from this BOD. So that's all about this STP, sewage treatment. Hope you have understood. See once and again this video, still you complete understanding dissolved oxygen, BOD and all. Dissolved oxygen is inversely proportional to BOD. More dissolved oxygen, less BOD. So that's all about. So hope you have understood. So that's all about sewage treatment. Thank you.